In this video, we're going to look at a very important topic. We're going to bring in pointers and associate them with struct types. So this is going to be something new. It'll be something really important as we work our way up eventually to object-oriented techniques. So let's use the same example program that I've used a couple of times already. So this is the student record example. And it is the same as before. We have these functions that we can use to enter data and to compute the grade and to print out the record. We have already declared Alice and Bob as two variables of type student. And now let's look at how we can make pointers. Pointers to student record. Well, the syntax that we use is going to be the same as always. We are going to declare something to be a pointer to a student record type. And it is the same syntax. So let's make a pointer for Alice. And it will be a student record. That is the type. We use the asterisk to represent a pointer. And let's name the pointer ptr_Alice. All right, so this just declared the pointer. It didn't initialize it. So again, using the technique that we used when we were learning how to do pointers, let's initialize this pointer. So pointer Alice will be equal to the address of Alice. Okay, so that is the same technique we've used before. The only difference here is that Alice is a type student record instead of being an ordinary type, like an integer or a float. Now, given we have this pointer to Alice, then let's enter the student data for Alice. Alrighty, well, we have a couple of options for that. We have two functions. We have enter data by value, and we have enter data by reference. Now, the examples I'm going to show will involve both of these techniques. So first of all, let's enter student data for Alice, and let's use it by value. Now, notice the syntax here. When you call a function by value, then it returns something. And if you want to remember or catch what it returns, you have to have an assignment statement. This is a very common mistake. So we will do pointer Alice. Now this time we're dereferencing it. Okay, so the thing the pointer is pointing to, that's Alice, is equal to enter data by value. And we haven't changed this function. It's the same as in previous examples. So that function expects just an ordinary student record. So it doesn't want a pointer. It wants the actual thing that's being pointed to. So we dereference the pointer again here. And we pass that to the function. So notice carefully the syntax that we're using. A pointer notation. So this is the dereferencing operator. Okay, so pointer Alice points to Alice, which is a student record up here. So we dereference it, that's really Alice, and we dereference this is Alice. So this is exactly the same as if we had written Alice is equal to enter data by value Alice. The result is the same. We have a function that will compute the grade for Alice. So using this pointer notation, let's compute her grade. If we look at the compute grade function, then you'll notice that it is a call by reference. So we do not need an assignment statement. Nothing is returned. So scrolling back up, compute grade for Alice, we simply need to call the function compute grade, and then in parentheses, dereference the pointer, semicolon. Right? Now this dereferences the pointer to Alice, which points to Alice, and this is exactly as if we had written compute grade and just Alice. Right? Now, be sure you understand the difference here. We're using pointer notation. We're using a pointer. We dereference it. It points to Alice. Well, okay, it's pretty simple. We didn't have to write a lot to do this. Now, let's print the data record for Alice. So we'll use this other function. And if you recall, when we print, we just do a call by value. Again, the function doesn't return anything, so we're not worried about getting some data back out of this function, printing the data. So we will do that right here. We will call print record, and we will use the dereferenced pointer, Alice. All right, now, before we go any further, let's pause and let's compile and run this program. And let's see how this works. So it is all done there. I will now build it. And I will run it. Student, okay, so we are now enter student data for Alice. We are in the function. Enter first and last name. Okay, well, alrighty. We had best enter Alice since her name is Alice. And I'll make up a name for her last name. Date of birth. So let's make that February 23rd of 8. And you by now recognize that this is the function that we're using, prompt ourselves to enter data. Exam average 9, homework average 93. And after we have entered this information, we call function compute grade, which records the computes the grade for Alice. And then we call our print record function, which prints out all of the data for Alice, name, birth, and so on. All right, now I'm going to move this out of the way. So you can see the functions that we're using and that we did not change those functions at all. We called enter data by value or enter data by reference. Those functions are identical to what I use in the structures program and the array of structures program. We're just using pointer notation this time. Alrighty, well, I will stop the program and let's continue. There was quite a bit of extra stuff below the system pause. Now, this says let's use call by reference to input data for Bob. So previously we did the enter data by value for Alice. Let's use the other function, the call by reference or enter data by reference to get data for Bob. All right. And since we're using a call by reference, we do not need the assignment statement. Enter data by reference. And this function is also expecting just a regular student record. So we would need to send in Bob, but we want to use pointer notation. Right? So this would work. This works just fine, but it doesn't show you pointer notation. So let's create a pointer to Bob before we call that function. Okay, so pointer, I need to do student record here. The student record, star, pointer, Bob. And let's go ahead and set that to the address of Bob. Now we have, I don't like the asterisk over there. I like the asterisk here. Now, instead of calling the function with Bob, which I said works, let's change this to the pointer notation. So we dereference our pointer, and it does have to go in the right spot there. Pointer for Bob, dereference it, semicolon. Okay, so now this line is going to give us the same result. Let's call compute grade for Bob. We dereference this pointer. Semicolon. So now compute grade will get what this pointer points to, which is just Bob himself. And then we'll print out Bob's information here. I already have the cout statement with 2 end lines, so that will skip some space. And we'll do print record. And we'll dereference the pointer, Bob, semicolon. Okay, now that takes care of Bob and Alice. In Alice's case, it's called by value, enter data by value. And for Bob, it is enter data by reference, but note the pointer notation in each case. So let's build this one and run it. We have to enter the data for Alice again. Bear with me. I don't know her previous birth date, but I'll make one here. Okay, 3.2. Exam average, work average. And we call compute grade. So here you go. This is what we did before. Now we'll continue, and this will get us to Bob's information. Okay, so let's do Bob Jones, 5, 12, 8, grade point average, 9, Sam, 7, 5. And the homework average, so that's 1. And in the call by enter data by reference or call by reference, then you can see we call the functions to enter the data. We call the compute grade function to compute its grade, and we print out its data. So this illustrates pointer notation with a structured type. Now, the second part of this program, I am going to make that into a next video, and we will write a function that will handle pointers and add that to our list of functions that we have here to enter the data. So I will stop this video here, and we'll pick up with that topic in the next video.